And as you can see, that one-step process works pretty good. Hello, welcome back to Mint TV. Today's video is going to be a beginner's guide and a do-it-yourself for one-step paint correction. There's a lot of videos out there on how to do it, so many different products, tools, pads. It's intimidating for the do-it-yourselfer to try to tackle this on their own vehicle. Obviously, you don't want to damage your paint any further than it may be already damaged. The products and tools I'll demonstrate today are not only affordable, but readily available at your local auto parts store, minus a few things that if you don't have this particular store in your area, you can order online as well. You can also change up on whether or not you want to use a certain product, how you see fit. But today I'll demonstrate on this panel here. I'll show what scratches and marring and swirls that I have on this panel and show you how effective this process is, and for myself, not being a professional by any means, can achieve professional-like results. And this should not be an intimidating process after you watch this video. It's pretty straightforward. It's more time and patience than anything. So if you're a bit impatient, it's something you might not want to tackle, but it's definitely worth the results. They are very rewarding when you can say, I did that, and look at it. Like I said, I'm by no means a professional, but hopefully by this demonstration I'll show today, you'll feel comfortable enough to tackle this yourself. So first off, starting with what we're going to be doing is a one-step paint correction using a dual action polisher, one type of pad, and a rubbing compound to achieve near professional results. This is the dual action polisher. It is a 6-inch pad. It's a Harbor Freight brand, and I've had this for a few years at this point. The machine has done phenomenally well. Based on the price of around $50, $60, I don't believe they carry this specific one anymore, but Harbor Freight has a new brand, I believe Bauer. There's two different models that my store, at least locally, carries. One's a $70, $80 model, and the other one's a little over $100. They'll all do the same type of finishing process here. It's just based on the comfort, the noise, and the quality of the machine itself. This one is noisy, it vibrates a lot. So I wear headphones, listen to music, I put gloves on to help keep fatigue out of my hands. But otherwise, it does the job just like the bigger, expensive ones out there. Next are the pads. These are also Harbor Freight. They're really affordable and they do the job. They're $6, $7 on sale. They're color coordinated based on the softness and how coarse the pad itself is. Being that they're foam, at glancing, besides the color difference, they don't look any different, but this black one is a soft finishing pad meant for polishing or applying a wax or sealer to your paint, where this orange pad is on the opposite end. It's more coarse and firm, so it does more cutting than it does polishing. However, with the compound I'll be using, I only use this one pad. Being that it's a one-step process, we don't switch pads, we don't switch compounds, it's just one compound, one pad. And that's what makes it a little more user-friendly and less complicated for the do-it-yourselfer. Now, professionals out there might be like, whoa, what are you doing? But the results don't lie. Proper lighting is very crucial. I have an LED light set up that I move around when I'm working a vehicle, and I can see different angles in the reflection and see if there's still scratches left, or if I need to work an area a little more with just this pad and one compound. And then out in sunlight is the ultimate true test to how well you did. Depending on different products out there, at least with this stuff, there's no holograms, there's no swirl marks left over, because the way this compound seems to work is it starts out a little bit more abrasive, and as you work it into the panel, it breaks down and becomes a finer abrasive that leaves a nice polished, smooth, hologram-free finish that you just can't really beat. Technology has brought a lot of these products so far over the last several years that it becomes a lot more user-friendly for the do-it-yourself or in your own garage or in a shaded area if you're doing this outside. Moving on to the product itself, Griot's, it's complete compound. And this is purchased at my local AutoZone for around $12 to $14. It's a 16-ounce bottle. A little goes a long ways with this stuff, which is nice. It doesn't really dry out as you're work in an area where some other compounds tend to dry out, and then that creates dust and more cleaning to move on to the next area. This stuff goes on and on and on, like the Energizer Bunny. I like the nozzle on this too for applying to your pad. It's more convenient that way. Some of the other ones have a push tab, and then it just gets a little messy too. I'm not sponsored. I bought this with my own money. I like Griots. I use a lot of their products because they're just a good product out there, and it's very user-friendly. That's the most important thing about this video, is being user-friendly. Prior to starting the polishing, paint correction on your vehicle, you want to make sure it's clean. If you can hand wash it, that's the best way to do it. Automated car washes don't do that great of a job as far as removing any kind of contaminants that are on your paint. It may look good, but deep down, it's not that great. So after you wash it, preferably, like I said, by hand, we clay bar the surface that we're working. A clay bar, again, this is an AutoZone purchase, relatively inexpensive, and it's job security for the work you're about to do. If you have contaminants on your paint, there could be metal particles, sap, overspray, tar, anything that your vehicle is exposed to out on the road can be stuck on your clear coat, and you might not even see it. Where a clay bar is going to help remove majority of that. Clay barring is simple. It's not that hard. You let the clay do the work for you. It's simply using the clay bar with either some soapy water mix, or I use Speed Shine by Griots as well. This stuff is, not only does it smell good, which is a plus, it wipes off really easy after you're done. Soapy water can be a little hard to evaporate and dry off. So a bottle of this was like $14 to $16 as well, and it's 35 ounces. This will last quite a while. And the last thing we'll need for this process is microfiber towels. Harbor Freight carries these as well. 12 pack was $6, $7. They're decent enough quality. There's some more expensive ones depending where you shop, but these ones still do the job. One little trick is they come with tags. I've removed the tag off this, but they'll come with like a polyester type tag on it, and I just tear those off, that way they don't scratch the surface when I'm wiping the panel. So I'm gonna move the camera. This panel's clean, but I'm gonna clay bar it, show you how that works, and then I'll show you the damage that's on the paint, and then we'll hook up the dual action and get some compound on the panel and work it in. So stay tuned. Okay, so for clay barring, like I said in the beginning, it's a simple process. Job security that we're pulling everything out of this clear coat that we can possibly pull out of it before we put the pad on. That way the pad isn't pulling it up and causing more scratches actually as you work. So work top to bottom on your panel, because dirt tends to be heavier on the lower portion of your panel. So we'll start from the top and then work down. As we're working, I'll stop and check this pad, and it'll get dirty as you use it. So the simple way to clean this is you simply twist it just like you would Play-Doh, and it cleans itself. Okay, so I'm gonna mist this panel down, and then I'll spray the clay bar down, and then we'll just start working in a motion like this back and forth. I'll time lapse this so you don't have to sit and watch it in real time. All right, got the whole surface clay barred. I'm gonna wipe it down, and then I'll take the camera down and show you what kind of scratches and swirls we're dealing with. All right, so once we get into the panel here, you can see in the reflection of the light, there's some swirl marks there. And not only that, if we change the angle of the light, we can see there's a lot of other swirl marks that are hidden. Now, let's see if the camera can pick this up, but you can see that's somewhat of a deeper scratch. So depending if you can catch your fingernail on that, it might be too deep to come out. So some scratches, unfortunately, just will not come out. But as you can see here, hopefully this will be a good comparison as to what it looks like before we do the actual polishing. So I'll just get a couple more shots here, and then I'll do a 50-50 tape line. That way we can see a before and after. Now that I have my orange pad on my dual action here, I'm going to apply some compound to the pad to primer it, because this is a clean pad. So I'm going to apply a little extra than what you normally need after you get a couple of passes out of this. I have a tape line set up here. I'm going to do this side of the panel, and then the other side still has some scratches, so we'll be able to see the before and after. One thing I'll note is, again, time and patience is crucial for this because it's not going to come out instantly. It takes time. I'll apply the product on the pad. I'll dab it in a small section. You don't want to work a whole panel at once. You want to work a 2 foot by 2 foot section, or depending on the area, it might be smaller. Working smaller areas in general is just better to focus your time and energy. It takes a little longer. It's easy to get in a rush and want to do larger portions. Fortunately, this compound is fairly forgiving, so it does spread out easy and it'll still work. Working a set area is a lot better. And what we'll do, and you'll see, is that once we spread the compound out, you want to work in a crisscross pattern, so left to right and then up and down. And you want to try to overlap each pass around 50%. So if we start here and work this way, I'll drop down 50% overlap, work my way back all the way down, and then same process, up and down, left to right. You don't need a whole lot of pressure on this. You let the machine do the work for you. So you don't need to be pushing really hard because it is dual action. It spins and oscillates at the same time. Too much pressure will actually stop the rotation of the pad, and you don't want that anyways. And depending on the edge that if you're up on an edge, sometimes the pad will stop spinning, so you just ease up on the pressure a little bit. Also, it's variable speed on these machines, so I start on 1, which is the slowest setting, when I'm spreading the compound out in the working area. And then after I get it spread out, I'll go back to my starting point. I'll turn this machine in particular, I'll go around 4.5 to 5, usually does the job. And then I'll slowly move along. Sometimes I'll use the reflection of the light where I have it set up to see if I'm, in a heavy spot where a lot of swirls and scratches are. I'll put a little more emphasis in that area, but you try to maintain a steady speed moving back and forth. Don't stay in one spot too long, because even though this is a safe machine to use on your paint, it does create heat. Too much heat and friction in one spot could potentially damage your clear coat. But fortunately with this compound and this machine, it is fairly safe. As long as you keep moving and don't sit in one spot for an extended period of time, you'll be safe. I'm gonna apply some compound, we'll get started. Okay, so that was probably a couple minutes for that pass. We'll wipe the compound off, and then I'll take the camera and see what kind of results we got from that one pass. Okay, as you can see on this side of the tape where we didn't do any polishing, there's still scratches. But as soon as we come over here, pretty much majority of those scratches are gone. I'll turn this way and use the light. And then on the right, there are still some scratches, but we could do another pass. And like I said, you can kind of put some focus in those areas to remove all those. So I'll do another pass here off camera and come back to it. And those scratches that are up towards the top there, and then there's some right there. That was a heavier scratch right there. We'll see if we can get that out. See you after another pass. All right, just finished the second pass. I removed the tape because now it's pretty evident where we did the work at. And as you can see, that one-step process works pretty good. It just might require 1 or 2 passes, sometimes 3. I wouldn't really go more than 4 on your surface. At that point, you're removing more and more clear coat. Depending on, like I said, if you can catch these scratches with your fingernail, they might be too deep, so some of them are just unfortunately, in there unless you were to do paint work. But for a 50-50, I would say the results speak for themselves. That up there, all the way down this panel where we had that tape line, you can see the reflection of my little step stool with the LED on there. And over here, it starts to distort it a little bit. Your vehicle may have considerably worse swirls too, so the difference will be even more noticeable. We'll go here for comparison. Well, thank you for watching. I hope this video helps you make a decision on whether or not you want to do this yourself. Again, if I can do it, pretty much anyone else should be able to. I'm not a professional, but you can see the results, they are pretty good. And obviously, the next step I would do after this is apply some wax. Whether you have a spray wax you'd like to use in a microfiber, or that black foam pad that I showed earlier, I use a 3-in-1 liquid wax from Griot's as well. That not only helps remove some light scratches by itself, but applies a protective layer to your clear coat, just to ensure that all the work you invest into making your paint look nice to continue stay looking nice in the future. Not only that, but wax will help repel debris and any kind of contaminants that want to stick to your paint, and also repels water nicely as well. But hope this video helps you make a decision. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.